We could just yell. It'd be awesome. Scream ourselves hoarse. Perfect. Chris is gone.
Chris, we need you
Chris?
up front. You're part of the
Better now?
presentation.
You hear me now?
Chris?
No feedback?
Yeah, I can hear you. There's a little bit of feedback, but that's just your voice.
Oh, that's really bright. Let's not stand in front of that.
Yeah, a little bit.
All right, good.
Do you have a microphone?
I have a microphone.
It works. Good. Okay.
All right, welcome. Whoa.
Only Chris has the AV problems. That's awesome.
Back up. Good? Yeah. Better?
Excellent.
All right. Welcome to our presentation. We've got James Arlen, myself, Chris Clymer, Mick from Paul.com, Brandon Knight from NOTACON. We are here to talk a little bit about social engineering security into your business. This whole thing kind of came together. Anybody went to ShmooCon? The snowpocalypse? Oh my God.
See this black line? Stay behind the black line.
Behind the line?
You can stay behind that black line too.
One more.
So back at ShmooCon a few months ago, can I talk? Okay. It's good?
I didn't want that mic anyway.
All right, we're done with that. This one good? No.
How about, oh, hey, this one's live.
Try number 3. All right, welcome to our presentation. AV fail at NOTACON. Yeah, it's exactly like the podcast. If you've listened to Security Justice, we can't get anything to work. So
Can we do the Skype sound?
we cannot do the Skype sound. So the reason we're all standing here, we had a blizzard at ShmooCon this year. You couldn't get out of the city, no planes, no trains, no nothing. And me and Mick got trapped in a car driving back to Ohio with about 8 hours to just talk. And we came up with this idea for me to flip through the slides too quickly. Does anything work?
Say next slide.
Next slide.
Next slide.
My Vanna White. First slide. Thank you, Vanna. So we get trapped in a car and talked for about 8 hours and realized we had a whole lot to say about things we think people aren't doing right in information security in the way they approach the rest of the business. And pretty much immediately, James came to mind as somebody who probably had a whole lot to say because he's always got a lot to say. So sure enough, he was in. And, talked to Brandon. Is there any way we could get this thing in? We know it's a little late to maybe get something in. He's like, well, you can do it, but I want to be part of it because I think it'll be a good presentation. So that's why we're standing here. We've put this thing together. We're going to go through a few kind of scenarios of right ways, wrong ways. We think people are doing things in information security. And from there, I'm going to hand it to Vanna to go a little more into the presentation.
I am wearing pants today, no worries. So, give my own little welcome to the NOTACON. So, yes, I have a lot of opinions about how information security is being done in a very wrong way. It's interesting when you bring your own heckling squad. Much like Chris and Mick's experience, I spent a long time after ShmooCon trapped in a car with people from Ohio, and most of what's being taught right now about how to do information security, whether it's being taught in the ad hoc sort of self-congratulatory reach-arounds that are done in various events, not NOTACON. There's the religion problem, which I'm sure you've all heard about from me before. There's the new, you have to have a post-university, postgraduate degree in something in order to understand how to do information security well. It's pretty much all wrong because it's predicated upon the concept that the users are stupid and saying no is the best answer. We think that's wrong and we're going to show you why. Originally, we planned to completely rip off Jack Daniel and use hen puppets. As it turns out, that requires budget and planning. We have neither. So we're going to walk through some preconceptions and some ways that things are normally done and show you some optional ways of doing them that on their face appear to be insane. But as it turns out, are probably the only way that we can do this going forward because the world is not getting less complex, computers are not slowing down, hard drives are not getting smaller, and we're not collecting less information every day. The first thing we want to talk to you about, how Infosec works with the developer community. Do I have any developers in the room? Anybody who knows how to program code? See, when I program code, the Arduino blows up. For this one, we're going to have Brandon and Chris, and you're going to love this. You need a microphone, though. So
I think it works.
it's going to be really hard for me to narrate.
No,
You want me to narrate? Okay. So, who needs chairs? This is not a con. Please readjust all of the unmanned cameras. They literally just adjusted the unmanned camera. That is so awesome. No, I don't. I'm sorry. So in this scenario, it's a pretty classic thing. It happens all the time in any organization that has its own internal developed applications, which despite everybody who tries to say this doesn't happen, like we're just an integration house, everybody's got a dev team that does actual code work. So in this case, we've got Chris playing the side of the developer who is innocent, has a CS degree, is aware that pront is not the basic that you want to use. It's not 10 pront, it's 10 print. And he loves go-tos and go-subs. And on the other side, we have Brandon, who actually is an operational security person and actually has this conversation on a regular basis with people. So he actually knows what he's talking about. And because we're not using real software here, I have no idea what the next slide says, so I'm going to peek. It's a Mac, but we're not using Keynote. Dude, give me a blank DVD. So because of a regulatory requirement, they're now doing web application assessments. These are usually done in a way that is kind of fanciful. They bring machines, and they get machines to try and run your web application, and they find goofy, asinine problems in them that ignore the whole fact that the application itself is existentially screwed. I'm self-censoring today. We discovered a vulnerability. The vulnerability is the kind of vulnerability that we would rate as critical. Okay, so we're really bad at using language as Infosec people. That's part of what you're about to learn. Critical to some people doesn't mean critical to other people. Okay, critical to us is if you use this really cool technique, you can completely like spew back the SQL database, and it's like totally awesome and stuff. Critical to other people is our website returns a 404 and or nothing. So criticality needs to be matched up to criticality. So from our perspective right now, this is web applications assessment is done, and the security guy says it's critical. The real problem, of course, is that we've seen this before. Okay, it's been found 6 times. It's done by different developers each time. So start thinking about the kind of thing that we're talking about. All right, everybody got a good stuff? It's all good? Nods, smiles, it's still the morning time. Here's the wrong way to do it.
Hey, Chris, this is Brandon from the security department, and yeah, we were just running our monthly assessment. We just run this tool, and it spits out a report, and I've actually checked this stuff, but it looks like there's some Crosssite scripting in the site.
What's Crosssite scripting? What are you talking about?
You guys have had like 6 of these in the past month. You don't know what they are yet?
We looked through all that code, you know, when we run it through QA before we go to production. We didn't have any problems. Everything compiled. Everything worked good.
Well, if this keeps happening, you guys are obviously doing something wrong. So, you have a lot of turnover, or is it a training issue? What's going on down there that you guys can't fix this stuff? I can come and show you the right way. It's really, really simple. Or just go to OWASP and just read that shit.
But what's I don't understand why is this really everything's working. The site's up. No, we're not having any complaints from users. Why do I care about this problem? What's going to happen if we don't? I don't really understand.
Someone could like put in the JavaScript and say alert hi.
Yeah, that doesn't sound very serious to me.
It is. What if everybody in the world gets a JavaScript alert?
I'm just not sure I see a reason why I need to fix this. You're going to have to convince me a little harder, or I mean, this is the way we always do everything.
Okay. So we're in security. We understand how this stuff works. If you guys don't know how to do it, I can talk to your management and we can get this stuff addressed. Like I said, this is really simple to fix. We can probably just fix it for you if you guys aren't really sure how to do that. How do you want to handle this? This is really important that you guys get this fixed today. Also, by the way, I know you guys are working on a bunch of other stuff to get this stuff out to release, but
yeah, we've got a 14-day SLA on any kind of change to code. We can't fix this today.
But it's critical.
Yeah. I think that's a good.
All right, so what we've learned here is very important. Can anybody point out the major flaw in Brandon's approach? Yes, Eric F. Michaud. Terrible. Find somebody with a red shirt and kick his ass out. Yeah, over here. Okay, so repeating for the benefit of the recording. So the suggestion is that we immediately put the developer on the defensive, that the developer is wrong, and that's not going to put a good start on the conversation because the conversation can really only go downhill from there. The developer's certainly not listening. The other major problem is what I'd like to refer to as the lexicon/jargon problem. If you have to work out how to say that thing because you're pronouncing an acronym, probably you're doing it wrong. And if you can't talk about what the impact of it is, you're probably doing it wrong. Now we're going to see exactly the same conversation, but done correctly. Again, meet the developer and the security dude.
Hey, Chris, this is Brandon from the security department. I just wanted to give you guys a heads up. We ran our monthly assessment and we found some, what appears to be some issues in the site. I've gone ahead and done a proof of concept and verified that this is an issue. I'd like to show you what's going on with this and where we think the issue may lie. But it looks like this is, there's some Crosssite scripting in the site. If you're not familiar with Crosssite scripting, essentially, if the client side is able to send along some input that the server doesn't validate or escape properly on the output side as it sends it back to the user, then the user's browser is going to render that as HTML or some sort of markup. It could be a security issue depending on what you guys are doing there. So we'd like to take a look at what you guys are doing and see if we can help address that in your code if you guys don't already have a way to do that.
You say that's a security issue. What could they do to the users? What's the concern?
So it depends on what's going on. It allows potentially allows an attacker to have access to anything in the DOM to manipulate all elements of the DOM as well as insert their own content. Say they're able to insert an extra login form or something like that. Or they can manipulate on our login page that we have instead of that posting to our form for login handling, they can actually just change the form handler such that it would post the user's credentials to their site, and potentially, our users would become victim of phishing or their credentials being compromised.
But we have JavaScript that does input validation. Doesn't that prevent this kind of thing from happening?
Well, it all depends on what you guys are using that input for. So ideally, it's best to look at that and whitelist the input so that you know, if you're only using alphanumeric, then go ahead and only accept that type of input. However, if you are using that for a lot of different things on the back end that you need it kind of raw, what you can do is do some output encoding or do some output encoding as you send that to the browser. Many frameworks actually have that built in, and we can show you how to do that. We can show you how to either turn that on as a default or add some extra things to your code so that it does that automatically for you.
Hey, why don't you send me that proof of concept code? Let me see if I can run this myself and understand how it works.
Sure, and we actually have some documentation that we've written up. And you know what? If this continues to be an issue, or if you guys just need some extra help or anything like that, we'd be glad to set up some training sessions with you. We really want to work together with you guys to make sure that you fully understand it, and that, you know, ideally that this isn't a burden to you, that if there are things that you can just have as default or anything like that, that it will just take care of it for you. Let's get that done so you guys don't have to think about it as much.
Okay, man, less work sounds good to me.
There we go. It's interesting, he's got some pretty severe latency on his memory there. So in watching that, what we go through is this possibility of making friends, because it's easy when someone feels that you're on a level with them to convince them to do things they might not otherwise want to do. This is called social engineering, and it's measured in millimitniks. There's very little room in the real world for us versus them. Working in an environment where various silos in the organization, or silos within an IT department, are in a cold war with each other is not a pleasant kind of organization to work in. It's the kind of organization where you end up having long drawn-out battles, where you frequently have the requirement for manager intervention. If there's a union involved, you will see grievances. The important thing is that Brandon took the time to explain, here's what the problem is in the programmer's own language. Security people don't know what DOM means, programmers do. And it sounds so simplistic to say it that way, but it is literally just stop trying to be super elite and start trying to be the kind of person that wants the problem solved. There's no glory for you. Welcome to being in security. The only time you get glory is when you come to a con and you stand in front of people. That's it. That's all. That's it. Sorry. By the way, I haven't listened to your podcast in like months.
He took your glory.
Just like that, man. Snap. The other problem that, or the other solution that Brandon offered is the possibility that the systemic issue isn't the fault of the developer. Okay, the first time round, the fact that this keeps happening is their fault, right? This is admonishing a child who is bad. And, if you treat people like children, they're going to tend to treat you like a douchebag. So he offers systemic guidance where he says, look, you could use framework stuff. And it's entirely possible that they're already using the framework, and the framework itself is busted because they're depending on a component that's been ripped out of the newer versions, and the organization is no longer doing security updates for the old version. And there's all these other things that are externalities to the conversation that Brandon is having, but which are critical. And making an effort to understand those externalities are the kinds of things that make the difference, that critical difference between the possibility of success and, well, the abject failure of the first way. The last point is that it doesn't matter if you inconvenience yourself. If you're going to inconvenience them, they're going to avoid the problem. But since this is your job, it is up to you to be inconvenienced. That's the reason why the money shows up in your account every 2 weeks. That's your job. Your job is not to hit refresh on /dot all day. Yes, you are. We're going to go through this latency problem again. So the next problem that we want to deal with is when Infosec people, and what we're talking about here is largely the analyst or technical class. So this is less about what you would think of as senior security roles, people who actually do know the difference between a debit and a credit because they carry a budget and they have direct reports and that kind of stuff, but more a technical person who is very intimate with all kinds of knowledge in their own lexicon, dealing with management who, in all honesty, make risk-based decisions all day, every day, and are not, in fact, stupid. They do know what they do very, very well, and you'll see, it's kind of interesting. In this case, again, we have Chris. This time, he's going to be the security group, and on the other side, we have a manager, played by Mick. The issue that we're going to walk through is that security wants money, and they want to buy products and hire people. So we're back to blinky lights and shiny things make security people happy, and this is not going to be the first time that anyone has used the phrase solves our problem completely. Here's the wrong way to do it.
Morning, Chris. What brings you here?
So I was RSA a few weeks ago,
Okay.
and there were these new products I was seeing down the. I've been thinking we need it for a while. These application vulnerability scanners that look at all the apps we're rolling into production, make sure we don't have anything really critical, any cross-site scripting or SQL injection or cross-site request forgery, anything that we're putting out there. And I want to talk to you about what can we do about getting some funds to buy some of these products, and maybe getting a couple of guys to run these on any of our code we're putting out into production.
But we're doing QA.
No, but QA is not going to catch cross-site scripting and session hijacking and stuff like that.
What are we buying? What are you asking for?
It's a product to just improve to reduce the number of vulnerabilities and prevent people from exploiting.
Well, but do we have vulnerabilities? Do we have people exploiting?
Oh, I'm sure we do. But
really?
But we need this product to really be sure. It's impossible to know exactly how many vulnerabilities are out there until you go and really look for them.
Well, I'm at a loss here because you just came in and you said, hey, we need money to fix stuff.
Yes.
Huh.
We need money to fix our stuff.
It's interesting how Chris is so good at elemental suck. Sorry, Chris.
In his defense, he's got a lot of practice at it.
Oh, burn. That was harsh.
Listen to every episode of Fallout.
He learns from the best.
This is warring podcasters. It's awesome. So you can see that was actually a very typical conversation. I've been on both sides of that, sitting with one of my coworkers who's making a pitch to management to get $500,000 to do stuff. And I've been on the other side of it where somebody's come to me and said, hey, we need $125,000 to go and buy this new blinky light shiny thing. It's going to be totally awesome and it's going to fix all of our problems. And in both cases, the only answer that's possible for the person who's crunching the numbers is, huh? Because they're not being provided with anything. Here's how that conversation could have gone. And this time, I want you to use fake numbers because it'll make you think.
Morning, Chris. How's things going?
Good. So I've been talking with some of our developers about the process they go through when code goes into production. When they're going through QA, there's a lot of things that they're looking at to make sure the code's going to be solid once it's running. But I'm not sure that we're doing enough to look for any kind of security issues when they go into production. So I've been looking at some of the products that are out there. I looked at 3 or 4 different products that are there, kind of compared the features and what they might be able to do for us, and fake numbers. I Oh, it costs more than that for these products. I'm looking for somewhere around $350,000 and 2 FTEs to run these products, so that anything that we've deemed is a higher risk as it goes into our production environment.
Stop right there. What do you mean by risk?
So anything that has the potential to really damage the company. So things that have customer data, things that are handling credit cards, financial transactions. So
wait, credit cards? Is that what that whole audit was with the QSA thing?
That's an important thing to do, and that makes sure that Visa's happy that it's unlikely that they're going to fine us.
We do have to be compliant.
Absolutely. No, that's
now this will help us with the compliance.
This is a part of that. It's an important part of that process, but compliance and security, while they can be similar, they are not exactly the same thing, and we can be compliant and still have issues with our production code that somebody could possibly take advantage of, steal money from our customers, steal their data, which could also lead to large fines, large costs for breach disclosures. I ran some numbers on that. I think we're looking at a cost of maybe around $500 a customer. We've got about 100,000 customers.
Well, and you mentioned breach notification. We're going to have to notify people and get in the news.
It could result in a lot of media attention.
Yeah, that's not something that we want. So now, the question is how soon do you need this stuff, and can we do this in a phased approach, or is this something that we have to go and do whole hog right away?
No, I think this is something we could phase in over the next 2 quarters. We could buy just a portion of the product, start with a single FTE, and slowly ramp the program up. It's going to take time too to decide which things do we really want to target, which has the most impact to our company.
Okay.
So we can focus on the highest risk stuff.
So, but you guys already have a full plate. What are you going to be willing to chuck under the bus in order to make this stuff happen?
Oh, that's a good one. Can I say PCI compliance? No, that's a really good question. That absolutely is going to come up in real world.
Okay.
I'll tell you what. Let me go run some numbers on where the costs are in my department, and I agree. There's only so much budget to go around. I'll have to decide. I think this is very important. The websites have a lot of exposure these days. There's a lot of potential damage. So I think there are some areas I could reduce our spending a little bit in to beef that up a little more and prevent us from getting in the news and things like that.
All right. Well, run some numbers, get back with me, set up an appointment. We'll chat.
Okay.
That was fun. See, it turns out that just by not being in this self-censoring thing is a problem. By not being a jerk, you're able to get a lot more accomplished. In large part, the difference was that Chris made an effort to understand what Mick was saying. Chris doesn't do well with numbers. That may or may not be a fact. That may or may not be libelous.
Too much of that listening to Paul.com.
But what he did was he made the effort, and you know what? Throwing yourself under the bus a little bit is good. The moments of uncomfortability where you say, you know what, I don't know how, or by actually coming out and saying, I don't know how to look at my budget and make those decisions. Can I get some help from you? If I come back to you with the information, if I come back to you with facts, can you help me figure out which facts are the important ones and which facts are the ones that we can leave on the table? The other important thing is, this sounds so terrible, but there's this great opportunity to do the right thing. And a lot of the times doing the right thing is asking some negative option questions. So everybody knows what a negative option question is? It's the one that you have to agree with, because not agreeing with it is either criminal or insane or just plain stupid. Okay, so he can say things like, we want to make sure that we're never in a position of losing credit card data, and we need to buy this tool in order to do that. And management sort of has to go, well, yeah, because their only other option is to say, we want to put ourselves in the position of losing credit card data. which is insane. So you're setting up the possibility for the outcome that you look for. You know, this is a whole lot about how to teach and a whole lot about how to gain understanding. And it's the understanding that's more important than the acquiesce. I mean, you could just batter him into delivering the money for whatever it is that you want to buy. Fear still works a lot, but that doesn't get you together and forward. It's figuring out what the needs look like.
It doesn't work the next time. It works one time. It's diminishing returns. So I browbeat somebody and give me the budget for this magic security product to solve all the problems, and then a year later, I need this magic security product to solve my problem. Well, you already bought one. Well, I need another one. But the other one fixed everything. Oh, no, it didn't. We need more. So it's diminishing returns on actually getting that budget.
Another thing that was real subtle with that second doing things the right way that I liked is that Chris came to the manager as if, you know, the manager was smart and intelligent. Usually managers are smart and intelligent, but as techies, we see them going, what's a firewall? Well, that's why they've hired you, to tell them what firewalls are, what they do for them. But they're actually very calculating and great about determining opportunity cost and things like that. So if you can frame it into that model, you're speaking their language and they can understand that. And
Hey,
if
Mick,
you can talk that way,
you'll
see they're smart. You really will, usually.
Very few people in this room have taken Economics 101, and you just used big words that are scary.
Sorry.
You did the wrong thing. You used the wrong language.
I didn't social engineer the crowd.
Mick needs to be in the audience, is what it comes down to. So the next 2 points, these are words that you would find if you took business courses. How many people have taken a business course? Wow. Why are you here? The first one is an economic concept. I'm putting this out there because either some of you don't know this or the people that will watch the videos don't know this. Opportunity cost is what you have to give up to get, right? So if you want that fabulous new product or you want to spend that money, what are you going to give up on the other side? And vice versa, if you don't spend that money, what are you going to give up on the other side, right? So if you don't buy the automated application scanner, that means you're going to be doing a whole lot of by hand statistical sampling. Your level of suck is going to go up. Your error margins are going to go through the roof. And you have to be able to talk about those two, the trade-off between 1 and 2. And if we do this, we get this. There's a bunch of comprehension of how the money flows that you've got to figure out. And if you haven't taken a business course, find the local community college or high school, literally, because this is still a high school course, at least it is in my country. And start learning about how business works, okay? The second concept, return on investment, these are scary bad words. In fact, they're so scary bad that SANS is suggesting that you change it and use something else called return on security investment. ROSI. That sounds about as stupid as CISA. So return on investment is an important concept for business people. It's, if I give you this money now, you will give me that money back. And they mean it in the form of slices of cellulose fiber, okay? They're serious about it. If you're, that was not me, except it might have been. You're standing on a precipice there, dude. Return on investment is very important for a lot of reasons, mostly because it is as dangerous a tool as the pen test that's all critical, okay? It is your nuclear option. Sorry, speaking American. It is your nuclear option. Be careful using this term and know when you can prove it, okay? So there are times that you can prove that you're handing the money back. If we buy this product, we will retract our request for another full-time employee. Spend $50,000 on this product, and we'll give you back an FTE, which in most companies, the round number they use is about $100,000, $125,000. Okay, so that is a direct return. You can say, in 2 quarters, in half a year, we'll give you back the return because we didn't make that hire. But that means for 2 quarters, you've locked yourself down. You can't ask for that body. Okay? So there's a lot of quid pro quo, there's a lot of difficulty in using economic terms if you are not fully cognizant of what that looks like on the back end. So take the business course.
I got a number 5.
Oh, God.
I didn't need to put it on the slide until after we were talking. Due diligence, right? So the first time going through this scenario, I went to a vendor show and I saw a product and I got very excited because that's what the salespeople are supposed to do. And as a technologist, it's easy to do that. You know, I can't believe all the stuff that's in the new version of Core Impact or Nessus, or man, we need that. That's not the right way to make a decision. Figure out what your needs are. You know, figure out what you're looking for, and then see if there are products that match that. And that's just one piece of the puzzle. It's the process that goes around it. It's how you're going to use it. Products don't solve your problems. They're just one part of it. And one key thing in the second scenario is I went and looked at what the developers are doing and where do I see some gaps. I did a little bit of work beforehand. If you're going to speak to your management, you need to have done a little bit of that due diligence, a little bit of your footwork to actually be able to authoritatively talk about what you're trying to talk to them about, or they're going to laugh at you.
It's not just based on who has the best vendor swag?
No.
Damn it, I've been doing it wrong. Users.
You gotta love them. We wouldn't have jobs without them.
Yeah, and you know what? Everybody that puts the little L in front because they're all super bastard operators from hell, guess what? Screw you, you're wrong. No users, no you. And guess what? They're not stupid. You come up with complicated shit for no good reason. The proof of that? In 2001, we were doing the same thing we're doing today. Talking about how antivirus doesn't work well, talking about configuring firewalls, talking about user awareness training and how it doesn't work. It's the same stuff over and over again. So we're not doing our job right. And here's all the awesome ways that we're not doing it right. This time Mick gets to be security. And Brandon gets to be an innocent user.
Are you going to take his virginity, Mick?
I'm so jumping off of the stage right now. User awareness training is usually done in a very poor fashion. It is always attempted to be automated. You always throw policy language in front of the user and expect them to be able to decompile that into human. You might as well ask them to read the United States tax code. Like, it's just, there is no point. No one understands it, not even the people that enact it, mostly because they don't read it, mostly because there's a growing literacy problem in the United States. It doesn't apply to them. You're absolutely right. Sorry, I'm having a moment over here with Matt. Security explains the company's password policy to poor Joe user the wrong way.
Hey, so there's this new security policy, and it's HR policy 8.94, and it just got ratified by the board of directors, and so now you need to change your passwords at a 90-day interval.
Okay, so I think I read that. Did that just...
We put it up on SharePoint.
Okay, was there an announcement anywhere?
On our SharePoint site. You have to go there. You
Okay.
can, you know what? You can also set it up to do RSS feeds so that as we put stuff up there, you can see it.
What? RSS, what is that? Oh. So, okay, so I have to change my passwords every 90. I have like 50 passwords that I have to, because like everything that we have on the internal network I have to log into. And
Right, that's right.
And I have to have a different password for every one.
Well, you don't want to be insecure.
And do we still have to have 16-character minimum for those?
Well,
or?
actually, it got changed. It's now 18, and
Okay.
you have to have alphanumeric, special characters. You have to have mixed case, but you can't have more than 3 letters that are of the same case. And the password history will be 24, unless it's an administrator account, in which case it's 60. And you're not allowed to prepend or suffix or prefix with things. So like if your password even though this is really weak, if it were password 1, the next time you couldn't do password 2.
Okay.
For the sake of recording, someone in the audience said, "How is this the wrong way?"
I guess I'm just going to need to buy bigger Post-it notes then.
And now for the right way. Or a better way.
I just wanted to see the back of your head actually explode, because if you've had any SANS course, you've been preconditioned and they've installed that chip.
Hey, Brandon, there's a new password policy that's going to be rolling out here in the not-too-distant future, and we need to make sure that you guys are ready for it. So there was an announcement sent out via the email, and it's also going to be on the intranet. Do you guys have any sorts of questions about that and what it'll mean for you guys?
I saw that, and yeah, we have quite a bit of people in our department.
Okay.
And I just want to make sure that it's critical that we're all able to log in. We're in the payroll department, and we all need to log into the payroll system. If we don't, then nobody gets paid.
Okay, I
so
like
it's kind
money.
It's important. So, is there anything special that we need to know about this change?
Well, it's going to be taking effect in a month. Okay, so you have to get ready for that. And it's mainly about how there's added complexity that we're going to be putting into the password requirement. So you have to have mixed case, capitalization, and that sort of stuff, alphanumeric numbers. We've actually made a cheat sheet. I can send you a link to it. It's in our SharePoint site, but and we also mentioned it in that mail. So if you could pull up the announcement mail, it has the cheat sheet of what we're looking for in good passwords.
Okay, and is there anything you guys have guidance on how to remember these or anything like that?
Yeah, there's a couple different things. If you look on our website, we've got a tools section, and one of the things that we suggest are password vaults. So what you do is you only have to memorize one particular password, and you can have all your disparate systems in there. All the different systems and hosts that you log into or applications are all stored in this one place, and you can have it actually do the auto login for you.
Oh, that'd be really convenient. I think we can talk to our internal people and get that set up. That'd be great.
Okay, cool. And so you can get rid of the Post-it notes, huh?
Well, we still have a shared. We won't talk about that.
Bastard users. So, here's the thing. You can treat people like adults until they prove that they're not, or you can treat people like children and enjoy the fact that they're going to be kicking your shins frequently. It's honestly, it's just that simple. In the first scenario, the situation was that Mick was very much in charge. Like most security people, he has a little bit of a dictator concept going on there. In fact, and interestingly, Brandon was a vice president, and that Infosec analyst over there is replaceable with something I saw at RSA. That's important. Approaching someone as a tyrant gets you exactly what you would expect. Approaching someone as a supplicant or a friend or actually even an underling, regardless of the actual terms of your relationship, is probably going to get more done. Because you're being a nice person. If you need remedial training on this, on your public broadcast system, pretty much every day now, there's a show. It's a documentary. It's broadcast from somewhere in New York City. There's a large bird and a very small blue monster that could help you with learning how to cooperate. You have to create the possibility for a safety zone too. This might actually be contrary to popular opinion, but people should be allowed to fail, and they should be allowed to have strikes against them. So when somebody cops to using a Post-it note, you need to not yell at them. You need to thank them for their honesty, and you need to help them find a solution that works for them, which is not necessarily the same as a solution that works for you. And you also have to admit that the way we're doing it, and some of the technological underpinnings that honestly aren't, I don't think ever going to get changed at this point, are stupid. Passwords are dumb. They're incredibly freaking dumb. They're wrong in every possible way that it is to be wrong. There's a reason why no one uses them in real life. I mean, do you have a password that you use when you're talking to your significant other?
No.
Safe word is not
the
a
safe word. A password.
Why did all of us go to exactly the same place with Matt? Why? I have no idea. Eric?
Two-factor.
The password comes first, the safe word comes after. This is one of those hit the start button in order to shut down. Okay. As it turns out, people are people. And generally speaking, people will do the same thing. If it worked last time, it'll work this time. And people are also intrinsically lazy. It isn't just you, it's everyone. What that means from a functional perspective is they will choose the most friction-free path. And for passwords, the most friction-free path is a Sharpie and the surface of your desk. Also, 1, 2, 3, which is how you get into my luggage. That's not going to change. You can't change it. Many people have tried to change people. Generally, it doesn't work out for the best for anyone. And it's a situation where you need to accept that and route around it. Make it so that the lazy, sloppy, crappy way is the easiest way. We all know that SSO works, right? Crickets. I can hear crickets. How about just reduced sign-on? You're halfway there. Wherever you can make it easier, wherever you can incur a cost instead of your users, where you can go to a project team and say, hey, we want to help flip your authentication scheme from the one that you've got where you do authentication and authorization internally in your app, and we want to flip that. So you can still do the authorization part because you know your app is complex and you're special, but we're going to move the authorization part out to LDAP or AD or something. And thereby, we're running Windows? Oh, okay. Hey, now I know his password.
It's okay, passwords are stupid.
Excellent. All right, this is degenerating rapidly.
We got like a couple minutes left.
Oh, we're going to get back on time?
Maybe.
Oh, okay, because we started really late. That part where you're going to go and you're going to incur this personal cost, you know, because you're going to have to work with the developers, you're going to have to figure out how to flip the bit in the framework they're using so that it starts using LDAP. That's expensive for you, and it's going to cost you maybe 20 hours. And in doing so, you will save 1,000 users 5 minutes a day, every day. That's called return on investment. And it's your goddamn job. Do it. What does sheepdog mean?
Well, basically, what you were leading into that.
Kind of scared about being sheepdogs.
Well, no. You know, when you're herding a flock of sheep or whatever, it's not, you know, the willful, malicious intent of the sheep to jump off the cliff. They just do that because that might be the easiest way that they see to get to where they want to go. It's your job as the dog to run around and herd them, make them do the right thing, protect them. The sheepdog's not mean about it. It just guides them. It's your job to help shepherd them, move them along. It's what we do. It's our job.
That's not listed on my job description.
Maybe I need a new gig. I don't know. So
This part's mixed. This is all about science, I think. There might even be math.
No math. No, but there will be a quiz later.
Oh, by the way, claim this for CPE, because this is actual information, not just us playing.
So a lot of what we were doing, if you were just listening, it sounded like, hey, there's these guys up on stage screwing around, having fun, cracking jokes, And yeah, that's true, but there was a lot of interesting social science going behind this. There's a lot of interesting things that are doing this. We called this social engineering, not how to be nice to people or how to do the obvious stuff. There's different theories that people have developed that explain these, like why people will take the easiest route always. A perfect instance here is cognitive valence, because what that is as simple as, given an opportunity of all the different things you could be doing, you want to be doing the thing that maximizes your pleasure, that causes you the least amount of grief. You run away from the things that cause you bad.
Why is he looking at Matt right now?
So to put it in that context, we make the easy thing right. That's our job. So we have to eliminate those negatives. Look into these things. We're running short on time. Just do a Google search. There's actually decent Wikipedia entries for all of these items,
which we could read to you if we had more time. For further reading, the classic, How to Win Friends and Influence People.
The title of the book is really scary and wrong, but actually the information in it is great.
You do have to, however, wear velour and be a little swinging.
Hey. Check out Radiolab. It's a great podcast where they look into the science of neurology and human interaction. It's not all like hardcore social engineering, but there's a lot of interesting stuff that makes you think how you think. Shout out to socialengineer.org. And also look at The Art of War. Believe it or not, there's a lot of stuff in here about how to pick and choose your battles wisely. And so someone in the audience shouted out, called common sense. The thing is, common sense isn't so common.
I was supposed to think of something to add in here, and my ad is the Personal MBA. It's a list of books you should read. Read the books. Just do it. I mean, get a Safari subscription and read, learn, do stuff. Here's the only takeaways as we're getting waved at by people. Security doesn't exist in a vacuum. Understand your audience. Understand the business and what you're trying to protect. Spend some time doing what it is your company does. When you go to an IT department and they say, we work with computers, you know that they don't have a freaking clue why they're there. Find out why. Shadow somebody in operations. Go down and work on the line. There's a television show all about presidents of corporations who are trying to figure out what it is their companies do, and they're finding out that the decisions they make turn them into douchebags every single day. And guess what? You can do the same thing. And realize that you are not an expert. You might know something about security. You don't know everything about security, guaranteed. None of us do. I know very little. And you're certainly not an expert in anything else, period. We have time for questions once we leave the stage and go outside.